I never thought feeding a homeless man would cost me my job. But 30 minutes after I set that plate down in front of Harold, my boss Quinn fired me on the spot. What happened next changed everything I thought I knew about kindness, consequences, and the strange way the universe keeps score. My name is Grace, and I've been waiting tables at Quinn's Diner for 3 years. It's not glamorous work, but it pays the bills and keeps me close to people, something I've always needed. The morning everything changed started like any other. I stepped off the city bus into the crisp morning air, pulling my thin jacket tighter around my shoulders as the streets were waking up to the hum of early commuters and the occasional honk filling the air. I hurried toward Quinn's Diner, a small establishment wedged between towering office buildings and apartment complexes. Quinn's had been my refuge since I moved to the city. The familiar smell of bacon grease and fresh coffee, the worn vinyl booths, the regulars who knew how I liked my coffee, it felt like home. But that Tuesday morning, as I tied my apron and checked the coffee levels, I had no idea my world was about to turn upside down. Harold appeared at the window around 10:30, just like he had every few weeks for the past month. He was an elderly man with a white beard that reached his chest, wearing a threadbare coat that had seen better decades. His eyes held a gentleness that seemed out of place with his weathered appearance. Most people looked right through him, but something about Harold always tugged at my heart. He never came inside, never asked for anything. He would just stand there looking through the window with this quiet dignity that broke something inside me every time. I'd watched him get turned away from other businesses, seen people cross the street to avoid him, witnessed the invisible wall that seemed to separate him from the world rushing by. That morning I made a decision that would change both our lives. I prepared a full breakfast: scrambled eggs, bacon, toast, hash browns, orange juice, and a steaming cup of coffee. My hands trembled slightly as I balanced the tray. I knew Quinn wouldn't approve, but I couldn't watch Harold stand there hungry another day. Some rules, I decided, were meant to be broken. "Sir," I called softly as I approached him outside. "Would you like to come in and have some breakfast?" Harold's eyes widened with surprise and something that looked like relief. I don't have money, miss." "It's on me," I smiled. "Everyone deserves a warm meal." I led him to a corner booth, away from the morning rush. As I set the plate down, Harold's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," he whispered. It's been a long time since someone showed me such kindness. Watching him eat was like witnessing someone come back to life." He ate slowly, savoring each bite, his shoulders gradually relaxing for the first time since I'd known him. Other customers glanced over, some with disapproval, others with curiosity, but I didn't care. This felt right. That's when Quinn appeared. "What the hell is this?" he demanded, his voice cutting through the diner's gentle hum. "I'm sorry, Mr. Quinn. Harold was hungry, and I thought—" "You thought wrong." His face was red with anger. "This is a business, not a charity. You want to feed every vagrant in the city? Do it on your own time, with your own money." "But I am using my own money," I protested. "You're using my space, my electricity, my reputation. You think our paying customers want to eat next to—" He gestured dismissively at Harold, who had stopped eating and was looking down at his plate. Harold started to stand. "I should go." "No," I said firmly. "Finish your breakfast." Quinn's eyes narrowed. "Grace, clear that table now or you're fired." The diner had gone silent. Everyone was watching. I looked at Harold, then at Quinn, then at the job I needed to survive. But some things matter more than survival. "He's finishing his breakfast," I said quietly. "Then you're done here. Get out." Just like that, 3 years of my life ended. I untied my apron, grabbed my purse, and walked out with Harold, leaving behind the only stability I'd known in the city. "I'm so sorry," Harold said as we stood on the sidewalk. "I never meant for you to lose your job." "You didn't do anything wrong," I assured him, though my mind was racing about rent, bills, and how I'd survive. Over the next few weeks, word spread about what happened at Quinn's. At first I thought it would die down, but something unexpected began to happen. Customers started avoiding the diner. Regular patrons who had witnessed the incident told their friends, who told their friends. Social media picked up the story. Grace's kindness began trending locally. Meanwhile, Quinn's stubbornness only deepened his troubles. Instead of acknowledging his mistake, he doubled down, telling anyone who would listen that he had run a respectable business for 20 years and wouldn't be bullied by bleeding hearts and social media warriors. But the damage was done. The diner's reputation crumbled as fast as autumn leaves. Loyal customers abandoned ship, praising Grace's dedication while criticizing Quinn's callousness. Online reviews plummeted. Local news stations picked up the story, painting Quinn as the villain who fired the kind-hearted waitress for feeding a hungry man. Within 2 months, Quinn's diner was facing bankruptcy. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The man who refused to feed one hungry person was now struggling to feed himself. That's when Harold returned. Quinn was alone in the diner, going through paperwork, trying to figure out how to save his failing business. The bell above the door chimed, and he looked up to see the same homeless man who had started all his troubles. "We're closed," Quinn said bitterly. Harold approached the counter with quiet dignity. "I know. I came to talk to you." "About what? Haven't you done enough damage?" Harold reached into his weathered coat and pulled out a business card, placing it gently on the counter. Quinn picked it up, his eyes widening as he read, "Harold Mitchell, Senior Partner, Mitchell Associates Investment Group." "I don't understand," Quinn stammered. Harold smiled sadly. 3 years ago, I lost my wife of 47 years. Grief broke me in ways I never imagined possible. I gave up on everything, my business, my home, my life. I've been living on the streets trying to find, I don't know what. Purpose, maybe? Hope. Quinn stared at him, speechless. "That morning when Grace fed me," Harold continued, "it wasn't just about the food. It was the first time in 3 years someone looked at me and saw a human being worth caring about. Her kindness reminded me who I used to be." Harold pulled out his phone and showed Quinn several photos, a mansion, luxury cars, family portraits. "I've been getting my life back together, piece by piece. Started with a shower, clean clothes, reconnecting with my business partners. Turns out they'd been hoping I'd return. My shares in the company are worth about $12 million. Quinn's face had gone white. "I've been looking for ways to honor Grace's kindness, to pay forward what she gave me. I heard about your situation." Harold reached into his briefcase and pulled out a check. "This should cover your debts and give you a fresh start. But I have conditions." Quinn looked at the check. It was enough to save his diner twice over. "First, you hire Grace back with a raise and full benefits. Second, you institute a program where anyone hungry gets a free meal, no questions asked. Third, you put up a sign crediting Grace with inspiring this policy." "Why would you help me?" Quinn asked, his voice barely a whisper. "After what I did?" Harold's eyes were kind but firm. "Because Grace taught me something important. Kindness isn't just about helping good people, it's about believing people can become better. She saw worth in me when I couldn't see it in myself. Maybe you deserve the same chance." Quinn's hand shook as he held the check. "I was wrong, I was so wrong." "Yes, you were. But being wrong isn't permanent unless you choose to make it so." 6 months later, Quinn's diner reopened as Grace's Table. The sign out front read, "Where everyone is welcome, inspired by Grace Thompson's kindness." The diner thrived, becoming known not just for good food but for its compassionate spirit. Grace returned as assistant manager, and every day she ensured no one left hungry. Harold became a regular customer again, but this time he sat at the counter, sharing stories and advice with anyone who needed it. The homeless program Harold funded served over 1,000 meals in its first year. More importantly, it served as a reminder that small acts of kindness can create ripples that reach farther than we ever imagine. Quinn learned to see his customers differently, to treat his employees better, and to remember that success isn't just measured in profits, but in the positive impact we have on others' lives. As I watch Harold and Quinn laugh together over coffee these days, I'm reminded of something my grandmother used to say. Kindness is never wasted. It either softens a heart or inspires someone to be better. That morning when I chose to feed a hungry man, I thought I was just being decent. I had no idea I was planting seeds that would grow into something beautiful, a reminder that in a world often focused on self-interest, true success lies in lifting others up. One small act of kindness challenged cruelty, inspired change, and created lasting impact. And sometimes that's all it takes to change the world: one plate of food, one moment of compassion, one choice to see the humanity in everyone we meet. The universe has a funny way of keeping score, and kindness, it turns out, always wins in the end. Don't forget to subscribe for more interesting stories like this every day.